Hi everybody, my name is Barry Schwartz and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, April 27th, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at SEOroundtable.com over the past week. First up, that confirmed Google broad core search algorithm update that started a week ago Monday. So about like, I don't know, almost like 10 days ago or so. It still seems like it's kind of shaking up. I'm not sure if it's related directly to that algorithm update or something else, or if it's still rolling out slowly. But it definitely seems that, one, Google has confirmed it, and Google said it actually started rolling out this past Monday. On Monday, we released a broad, and let me zoom in there so you can see it. On Monday, we released a broad core algorithm update, as we routinely do throughout the year. For background, etc., see the previous tweets. And that basically covered, like, what do you do if you drop? Nothing you could do. This just promotes sites that were not promoted before, yada, yada, yada. And that seems to still be rolling out. Like I said, it still seems to be pretty volatile around. The fluctuations just going insane. So if you look at these charts and the forum threads, people are still talking about rollouts. The tools themselves, and you can see here, I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it. The charts themselves are kind of off the charts. Mozcast, SERP metrics, SEM Rush, Rank Ranger. This is what I posted yesterday, so this is fairly new stuff. So it's still pretty significant in terms of what's going on. It's hard to say if it's related to that Monday update from a week ago Monday, or if it's not. But it definitely seems like a lot of things are going on. Google on late last Friday, announced basically a how-to on how search suggestions and autocomplete suggestion predictions work. And Google said basically, Danny Sullivan wrote this post, which was really good. A bunch of different things here, but basically Google said that one is they're not really suggestions. They are predictions based on, obviously, previous search history, and they look at how people search and do stuff around that. But they also went ahead and released they're expanding the types of predictions that they remove from autocomplete. Specifically, they are not just looking to see if it's hateful or violent or whatever to a specific religion or ethnic group or so forth. It could be hateful, whatever, against any person, anything, for any reason. And Google wrote, let me see if I can find it. Google's removing predictions that are perceived as hateful, prejudiced towards individuals and groups without any particular demographics, prior specifically to demographics and so forth. So that's pretty interesting. And also Google said that on average, autocomplete reduces typing by 25%, which, if you do the math, saves over 200 years of typing per day. So that's a pretty cool stat from Google. Google said that negative SEO around canonical redirects don't necessarily really work. It's been around for a while. It's nothing new. Google knows what's going on. But Bill Hartzer wrote a whole post about a new undetectable negative SEO tactic around using canonical tags and so forth, where you redirect kind of penalties and so forth. We've covered the topic many, many times, actually, in the past. John Mueller said the premise that rel canonicals combine pages is wrong. That's not how it works. He also said the rel canonical has been around for over a decade. People have tried a lot of things with it. It's a signal for canonicalization. One URL wins, the other one gets dropped. Pretty simple. And then people are going on and on that John Mueller is avoiding the question. Maybe he is. I'm not sure. But he's telling people you're making a mountain out of nothing. And again, it's very interesting to see Google being so defensive about this. Why don't they just come out and say, hey, in this specific case that Bill's talking about, the rel canonical had no impact on this negative SEO, and you guys are wrong. But they didn't come out and say that specifically, which is interesting. So Bill Slosky, who's really, really great at these patent stuff and SEO stuff and all around, his blog is amazing if you want to understand how patents are around the search world, SEO, and stuff like that. He really breaks them down. He wrote about what he considers an updated PageRank patent. It's not really called a PageRank patent. This is a new version that seems similar to PageRank patent, which is basically called producing a ranking for pages using distance and the web link graph, similar to the PageRank pattern. Whatever, is it the new one, is it the old one? Who knows? But he basically went through this and so forth, and this always brings up the old topic. Google killed off PageRank, toolbar PageRank, but they still use PageRank in terms of their algorithms. How much do they use it? Are they using it as much as they used in the past? Does this pattern reveal anything? Does Google use patents? Do they not use patents? Do you get smarter as an SEO and so forth? The question is really, should SEOs care about this? In my opinion, reading these patterns, understanding these patterns definitely make you a smarter SEO. Does Google actually use these patterns directly as they're written? Probably not. But at the same time, it shows you where their intent is and what Google's intent is in terms of making their search algorithm work better, which could make you make content better, maybe. Google seems to be hijacking speedtest.net. If you do a search for the domain name speedtest.net in Google right now, what will come up is the speed test widget from Google. So here's a screenshot. You see that right there. You do a search for speedtest.net. Up comes Google's speed test widget. Right below it is the speedtest.net result. Danny Sullivan said he probably thinks this is a bug. He's looking into it. He doesn't think that this is something specifically that Google is doing on purpose. It's probably just matching the word speed test and doing a query for speed test as opposed to just speedtest.net. And Google will look into it. But as of today, even 24 hours later, it's still an issue. Sorry. So there's a new study out that shows that Google doesn't often use your meta descriptions. Yoast did a study basically saying that two things. One, that Google doesn't often use your meta descriptions. Instead, it uses the content on your page, usually the first paragraph. And in two-thirds of the cases, Google uses the sentences from the first paragraph of your content for the snippets. So keep that in mind when writing your first content in paragraph. Google also said that having duplicate meta descriptions, which is a report that you can access in the Google Search Console, is not necessarily mean that your site's broken. It's typically how the web works. Back a few years ago, Matt Cutts in 2013 said it's better not to have meta descriptions at all than to have duplicate meta descriptions. So which is right? Hard to know. It's always interesting when Google gives somewhat conflicting answers. Google is not using the NorelMe microdata format. John Mueller said, I don't think we're using it. I don't see a reason we're using it. Maybe they used it back when there was authorship, but it's not being used now, so no reason to use it. Google said they're often able to figure out when your page is written in a different language, and there's not really a necessary required reason to use hreflang. It obviously helps them get a definitive answer from you, but they're able to figure it out even without hreflang. That doesn't mean you shouldn't use hreflang, but it's definitely something that Google's able to figure out. And what is better? Google answered, is it better to use hreflang and get it wrong than not use hreflang at all, not to use it at all? And John Mueller said it depends. One is, if you're messing up the syntax, then Google's treating that syntax as it's not being there, and it will be the same thing as not using it. But if you're actually pointing, let's say, this page, saying this is a Spanish page and it's really an English page, that could actually be more harmful, and then you probably shouldn't use it. So that's that. And also, Google said linking to a no-index URL or many no-index URLs is not problematic. So if you have lots of pages that you no-index because maybe they're repetitive or they're sorting pages or filter pages and so forth, but you link to it often on your website, it's not a negative thing. And John Mueller said, I don't see a problem with doing that. Google is testing one-line brief versions of AdWords ads on the mobile results. So here's a screenshot. I'll zoom in so you can see it. So you can see there at the bottom of here's the organic result, and at the bottom there's these ads for, and they just list the URLs, which is very, very interesting. It's very interesting to see that. Hopefully we'll see more information about that coming up soon. And Google is testing, or maybe not, maybe they're rolling out, I see it on Android, not on iOS, a Photos tab in the local panel. So you can see here, right over here, you can see that for my local panel, there's a Photos tab. That's on Android, specifically a Nexus device or a Pixel device, I believe. And this is an iPhone 10. There is no Photos tab for the same exact local panel. And then finally, we like to thank and honor certain people in the search community. So Jason Dodge, Thomas Craver, Rohan Arier, Craig Campbell, and Kelvin Newman. Of course, Kelvin Newman is currently running the Brighton SEO event right now. So he's pretty busy. It just happened to be, honestly, we picked him randomly, and it just happened to be that today we picked Kelvin. In any event, hope the Brighton SEO event goes well. I think there's thousands of people there. Hope you are over there. Hope you're enjoying it. And I hope everyone has a great weekend. Again, my name is Barry Schwartz, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at SEOroundtable.com over the past week. Again, today is Friday, April 27th. Everyone have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next. Bye.